What's up, brother? Bet you didn't expect to see little old me. And honestly, I didn't either. Sorry. I remember yesterday, I was like, damn, when's the last time I uploaded a YouTube video? I've been so busy. And I looked and it said my most recent video was 4 weeks ago. And I was like, what? God, this hair is like totally annoying anyway. I'll just put it back there. And I was like, what? A whole full month? That is not what I meant to do. I've just been totally overwhelmed. And dude, I have no time for nothing. Like, I have been so busy. I started picking up watching my brother every other week. And during those 2 weeks out of the month, I'm really busy. He's, pretty high emotional needs, so I have to be like extra careful and like extra thoughtful. And of course, having another person in the house, there's a lot of planning and making sure meals are done and the house is clean and da 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 da. So whatever. But and then on top of that, whatever extra responsibilities there, none of my other responsibilities went away. You know what I mean? And then my mental health just got worse. you know how it is. It ain't no roller coaster. I mean, I could try to promise that I'm sorry guys, I'll promise I'll upload weekly from now on. Girl, I can't promise that. I'm not even able to do my own things like weekly, you know what I mean? Which, for these kind of videos, I just sit down and I kind of open up a camera, and I've gotten more comfortable over time. Like, it used to take me a minute. Like, I would do, I don't know, I feel like I'd have a lot of prep beforehand before I would like make a video, because I was like more uncomfortable with it and just trying to feel it out, you know what I mean? Anyway, 2-minute long yap session about absolutely nothing. I'm overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed, and I am so just tired. I just keep having things to do, and there's not enough time in the day to do everything. And oh my god, I was thinking about going back to school. I probably not. Like, oh my god, I'm literally gonna move it. Probably not, because I just cannot. Girl, I'm barely holding it together as it is. And am I supposed to tack school on top of that? No. I want to though, but then I don't know, I'm feeling like a little crisis. Not really a crisis, I guess, but like a little bit of shame. Because I have a borderline personality disorder. I've been pretty open about that, and I really struggle with my mental health day to day. Even though I have medicine, even though I have therapy, it's just something I kind of have to manage and control. Which is, let's give a little clap for my mom who who traumatized me. No. She deserves no applause, honey. Anyway. So, I've been feeling shame because I don't work. Every time I've had a job, I've worked at Amazon when I was 18, just trying to get some money. I was living with my grandparents. I was not doing well in my head. Let's be for real. I wasn't doing well, but it was good money quickly, and they hired me. I worked there for maybe a month and a half before I had to come up to my manager, and I was like, I'm having hallucinations. I was a forklift driver. I was a person going, I was what they called a stower. And these in the Amazon warehouse that I was in, they had or maybe it's all of them, I don't know, but they have these giant wall, warehouse floor to ceiling cubbies where they give you items, and then you just put them randomly wherever they'll fit, you know what I mean, within reason. And I'm obviously driving this like heavy machinery, you know, a lot of tons. And I remember I fucking, in my forklift, I drive up to my manager and I'm like, hey, I'm having hallucinations. I was like, I'm not on drugs or anything. Can you imagine the look on this middle-aged man's face when I said that? And when I was 18, I was like, I looked a little odd. Like, I had shaved off all my hair, and my hair was like buzzed, and it was like this big. I was a little like always flushed, and kind of, I was like at a little bit of a higher weight because I was struggling with alcohol addiction at the time. So, and you know, I always just was kind of like tweaking looking, you know what I mean? From like fucking doing mushrooms all the time and fucking smoking, and it's just all kinds of crap. Do not do drugs. Anyway, I just had to insert that in there. Oh my god, and I had a freaking mental breakdown. They took me, he was like, park your forklift and meet me in my office. I'll wait for you right over there. And I was like, okay. And when I say hallucinations, like, I was the warehouse and stuff was like it was like phasing and changing, and it was like tweaking. I was not on anything. I was not on nothing. It's just something that was happening, and it was getting to the point where like it was like I would just try to ignore it, but it got to the point where I was like, damn, like I can barely do this. Like I'm literally operating this damn super dangerous forklift, and I'm tweaking, you know what I mean? His ass put me in a meeting room and was like, here, talk to them. They ended up putting me on disability for like 6 months, and I was getting paid like, it was like a chunk. It was like half of what my paycheck would have been for like 6 months, and that was pretty fire. But during that time, I was like really messed up. And then at the end, because every month they kept wanting paperwork saying that I was disabled, and which was fine enough to get, but it was just getting really frustrating because they were like, how are you not better? It's been months, you know what I mean? And you're still having these, I don't know, maybe they thought I was lying or something, because they don't want to be paying you for you're not working, you know what I mean? And so eventually I just gave up, and I was like, I'm not coming back to that job. Like, I don't ever plan on coming back. Like, I'm just gonna drop it, you know what I mean? And then I ended up going away. And then the second job I had, no, my first job was working at a club. Didn't work well. Second job, working at Amazon. Third job, sorry to think. My third job, I was working at Dollar General, and I was good there for maybe 6 months, and then towards the end, I started tweaking, and I remember, which I was tweaking the whole time. I made it very clear to my manager that I was mentally ill, and she was cool with it. And to the point where it probably made customers uncomfortable, because like I would just like, oh, I feel so embarrassed. I would just like randomly cry or like have these really intense mood swings, and people would see, because they wouldn't have me doing like register or anything. I mean, very occasionally, but mostly my job was just organize the store. I just kept to myself, and I organized everything, and it was really nice because I felt accomplished and everything looked really pleasing to me. It was she was so nice, dude. I love my girl Jackie for that. My manager, my store manager, I love her for that. She was really sweet. I hope she's doing well. But she gave me that job, just organizing and just, you know, trying to keep my head on straight. And she was really kind about it. Like, I would work 4-hour shifts whenever I wanted. All I had to do was text. I never had a schedule. I just texted when I was okay to go in, and I would go in. I'd maybe work 2-3 times a week, and it's not because I didn't want to. It's because I literally couldn't. Like, I was so messed up in the head. And then I couldn't handle more than a 4-hour shift because towards the end of those 4-hour shifts, like my mental health would start acting up so much. I don't know if it's because of being in public. I don't know if it's because it was task oriented. I have no idea what it was. But at the end, I remember I was organizing the home section. Like I was taking down pillows and like reorganizing, just, very much focused on the aesthetic of it because that's what pleased me. Not that any of the customers actually did. Anyway, oh my god. I remember to pulling down the pillows and stuff, and I was not doing well that day, but I came in, I wanted a little bit of money, and I came in, and towards the end of my shift, or like halfway through maybe, I was organizing the home section, and I literally, I don't know how to describe it other than had a mental health episode, and I like fell to the floor, curled up in a ball, and just like fucking like rocked back and forth, and like was like, I was tweaking, bro. Like, I don't even remember what happened. It's just the only way I can describe it, it was just like the entire world was just like caving in around me, and nothing was happening, bro. Like, nobody was around, nobody was talking to me. But when that happened, like, I was like, felt like I was gonna die. Because I used to feel like this overwhelming cloud of death, like, constantly following me, as if God was I'm not religious, but I didn't know how to describe it other than it felt like a higher being was making it known to me that I was like destined to die soon. It was just this cloud of darkness, and sometimes it would weigh heavier on me, but it would always be there. It would always be floating around, and sometimes it would settle more, sometimes it would lift a little bit, but it was always there. I remember that time it was so heavy. I literally just fell to the floor, and I walked up to my manager and I said, I'm really sorry, I need to leave. I couldn't even pick up the home section. I was in the home section, there's pillows on the floor, like, I need to go to the hospital. And she didn't ask me no questions, and she was like, of course, go. I had to take my ass to the mental health, like the psych ward that day. Like, it was, I would always bring myself to the psych. I was very quick about taking myself or telling people I needed to go to the psych ward because I was afraid of myself. I was afraid of myself because it felt like it wasn't, like, I'm not saying it was, but I describe it like this. It felt like another thing or another being or, collection of sticky, yucky mental illness was like trying to force me to do things I didn't want to do, take that as you will. And I would just lock myself up for a few days or however long I needed to get evaluated, but they'd always spit me back out because, unfortunately, with BPD, there's no medicine for it because it's trauma-based, and it changes the way your brain actually develops. Like, my brain is, ooh, thunder. My brain is actually, like, different. Like, if you take it out, and you look at my brain and like different parts of my, I don't know what they're called, I forget from psychology, like the parts of my brain, some of them, they're actually physically different than like a normal person's like developed brain, and that's because of trauma and how it affected my development, unfortunately. So there's nothing you can really do because my brain is literally structured differently than like a normal person's anyway. And it's super embarrassing. Anyway, I went on that whole thing. I don't know if I've ever explained that on here. I don't know if I've ever talked about that, but that shit was super embarrassing. That shit was super embarrassing. Oh my god. Like, thinking back when I was working at the damn Dollar General, bro. Oh my god. Everyone was really sweet to me. All my coworkers were so nice. Like, I had not a problem with any of them. It's just it shouldn't be embarrassing because like I was really struggling and everyone was aware at the time, but oh my goodness, I just can't help but be a little, I don't want to say embarrassed, but just I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it just happens sometimes. And so every time I've worked, and the last time I've had a job, I don't know. I think I was I think I was 19 when I was working at Dollar General. Yeah. 19? Yeah, because I had my 20th birthday in a sober living home. Yes. So I was 19 working at Dollar General. So during those years, like I tried and it just went super bad. And every time I would be able to work for a period of time and then it would just, I don't know if it's the structure of like a job, I don't know if it's the tasks, I don't know if it's the people, I don't know what it is, I don't know what, but it's something, it doesn't click in my head, bro. It like it just doesn't work. Like I do homemaking. I found a lot of passion and purpose in that, but sometimes I feel a lot of shame that I am not able to contribute the way that I feel like I should, and the way that I should, and the way that a way that would like, I guess, better our financial situation. Because I don't want to, I feel bad, you know what I mean? Um, but I'm also afraid of like pushing myself to that point again because every time that I've pushed myself like too hard, too far, whatever, I've always broke, you know what I mean? And then once I crack or whatever, the sickness spills out, it takes me years to recover. And it is terrifying, the idea of like getting a job. Let's say I get a job, I hold it, and now we need it to live, and I have to work to live. And if I don't, I'm really lucky that I have a partner who's able to hold like a job, and my sister is able to hold a good job, and they're able to help and support me. But I wish I could do more. Like everyone, everybody's really grateful that, I don't feel unappreciated for the things I do, but I feel a little ashamed that I can't do more because I feel like everyone, like, you're supposed to work, like if I could work, if I held a job, we would have a lot less problems. Not that money's everything, but money pays the bills, it gets you groceries, you know what I mean? And I don't know, it sucks. Like what am I supposed to do? Because all I can do is try. But if a freaking person looks at my resume and they're like, damn, this bitch ain't had a job since she was 20. Like, since I was 19. I'm 22 now. I'll be 23 in January. Like, I don't have no skills. Like, I went to college for a year. That went okay. I did really good the first semester. I got like all A's. And then the second semester, I like failed a bunch of classes because I was so burnt out from the first semester. And I was going through FAFSA because I'm poor. I obviously can't afford college. And it's just anything. It's just I don't react well to like, I don't know what it is with a job. It's just it doesn't work with me, like, mentally. I just can't do it. You know what I mean? And then I wonder, like, sometimes if I'm just being like a baby. Like, am I holding myself back because I'm afraid? Or like, is this a limitation that I have? They won't give me disability. It's so hard to get disability, and last time I tried, they said I didn't work enough. I was doing door dashing, and I had some really intense cognitive or mental decline, and that could have been because of like a really severe financial situation. It could have been because of whatever, I don't know. But it really sucks. I don't know. I've personally found a lot of peace. I used to feel a lot of shame with staying at home and doing homely things, because I guess part of me felt like I was like failing as like a woman, you know what I mean? Because I was like, God, I can't fucking do anything. I was very much taught as a kid to like never rely on a man, never fucking blah 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 blah. Get your education, get your own job, be a boss bitch. You know what I mean? And I can't. I am so lucky and grateful to have found someone who is kind to me and understands me and takes the time to learn how to help me. But and I no not but and I just I feel ashamed sometimes. Like I should have, like I'm not like I'm failed as a woman. Like some people would think like, oh, this is like a traditional woman. I'm anything but a traditional woman, brother. You know what I mean? But I found a lot of like happiness and peace in living like a frugal, like handmade lifestyle. But then again, it would be nice to, I don't know, have more luxuries, another car. I only have one for 3 people. Another car, a bigger, like an apartment where I can give my sister a bedroom, because right now she's sleeping in the living room and I feel really bad about that. But I don't really have another option. And it's just really hard. And from where we had to use our credit cards for bills for a little bit, we have credit card debt, and obviously that's really hard to get out of. I don't really know what the point of this this video really didn't have a point. I really just sat down and turned on the camera and I just kind of yapped. I guess I'll title this video something like, I honestly don't know what the hell I titled this. I talked about quite a few different things. Anyway, thank you for listening. I can't promise that I'll be uploading more or whatever. All I can say is I'll try. I didn't forget. I just haven't been able. I just haven't had the time. It's the first time I've had the house to myself in a while. I felt well enough to do it. I hope you guys are all in a better place. And oh my god, that sounds like, yeah, I hope you all are dead. No. I hope you guys are doing well and that the hard times are far and few between. And I don't know. I hope to see you all in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.